Hello, Denver protesters. It's Protest Mom here. Before we go into City Council, which is going to start in 15 minutes, I wanted to do a quick OPSEC. I just want to beg you, basically. I know there's an action today. I'm begging you, before you go, leave your phone at home and go buy a burner right now. You can get them from Walgreens for like 21 bucks plus the data. The data has to be refreshed every month. A lot of them are unlimited. I get it isn't free, but I'm about to tell you why it's important. If you can afford this and you don't, you are a danger to everyone around you. If you can't afford it and still want to show up, you need to meet up with the protest buddy beforehand and leave your phone at home. Here's why. Last night, I received photographs that I've been asking for and looking for. I want to know about data surveillance. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot, and I know for most humans, it tends to make the eyes roll in the back of their head, and they're like, oh God. 2001, the Patriot Act was passed, which legalized use of something called Stingrays, which have been in existence since 1994. Now, if you watch old movies, especially where criminals are trying to get away or spies are doing their job and they have what at the time was the best flip phone around, they would take the battery out. Or if you watch a really old TV show, that battery was how a person could be located. So if a person's being kidnapped or grabbed, the kidnappers would rip the battery out, throw it out the window, and then take off with the person. They didn't care about the rest of the phone. Well, phones no longer have removable batteries, but that should make you a little nervous. It's different technology for sure, but they can find you wherever you are. Using something called that every phone has called the IMEI. So the IMEI number, I'm going to post a link here from the Intercept and you can read more about it, but we have them in Denver. We know that this administration is trying to say that Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization. Therefore, all protesters are Antifa. Therefore, we need wiretaps without warrants to justify use of the IMEI catchers. Now, there are two main types. Again, both have been around since 1994. One in the air called dirt boxes. DRT is the name of the company who makes it. Therefore, they're called dirt boxes. Dirt boxes are carried in airplanes because they're intercepted in the air. They're usually in unmarked helicopters, and the U.S. Marshals use them in Cessnas. We know this because we have full reports on it. The other type is called the Stingray, also based off the name of the box. And they can be stationed anywhere, but they're small and portable, which is why they can go up and down. They'll be here today and gone in the morning because they are small enough to fit around and be carried in a patrol car. And if anyone has ever been tracked or traced or caught via an IMEI, odds are pretty good. The patrol car had that Stingray in their car and were driving around until they could locate the source of the connection. So the other reason you should be nervous about this Stingray, someone was asking me earlier in one of my chats, how wide is the range? In the airplane, quite a bit. Let's start with thinking about the patrol cars. And if you're carrying it in a patrol car, then you've got up to a third range distance. So you're pretty sure already where your suspects are. And in a very short period, it can capture all kinds of cell phone information. So going back to what I said, what is the OPSEC here? I've said from the beginning that my operating principle is if they want me, they're going to come get me. What are they going to find? Not specifically how are they going to do it, but what are they going to find when they do? So that is why I keep burner phones all over the place, because even if your phone is off, it can still communicate with other phones. And it can do that for up to a third of a mile distance. So I would say this is rule number one, leave the phone at home, your real phone at home. Okay. Number two, if you got to go, leave it in your car. And make sure you park at least a third of a mile away from wherever it is you're going to protest. Now, if you're a runner, you wear garments, pretty easy. You have a good idea what a third of a mile is. That's like 2 to 3 city blocks, north to south in Denver. Rough. It can be a little bit more or less. when you get up towards Rhino and Five Points, the blocks are a lot smaller. But the further south you go, yes, generally speaking, two or three blocks in one direction is roughly a quarter to a third of a mile. So if you just think of it, each block is roughly a tenth of a mile, and underestimate as you go, and that's pretty safe. Because here's the rub: what it can also do without your phone knowing, even if your phone is off, and this is going to happen when your phone is off. If it's going to happen at all, it's going to happen when your phone is off and you're not paying attention. So what it's going to do is download software onto your phone that changes it from 4G to 2G and makes it easy to hack into. Now, but MK, everything I do is on Keybase and Telegram and Wire and Signal, and it's all end-to-end encrypted. And I know for a fact that none of these can capture encrypted information. True, that data is going to be useless in their hands, but there's no guarantee. Let's say they catch you and they know you're talking to somebody, because they can see when that happens, and they can still see when an encrypted communication goes in and out, and they can look around and see who's intercepting it. So every time you carry your phone out, assume it's going to be intercepted. Once it's intercepted, it's going to know who you're talking to. So your best bet is to make sure that you and all your buddies have a burner phone, preferably with a VPN if you must use the internet on it. If you can get away with a flip phone, do that as much as you possibly can. Keep your phone off most of the time. Store it in your car at least a third of a mile away. And remember, if they're going to get you, if they want to, they can. Your best option always to communicate really sensitive information will always be face to face in a loud area, whispered, like a bar or dinner, especially in a time of COVID when people are going to be doing this outside with face masks on. Anyway, just saying, it's an advantage. Please use it. So I don't want to be like overly scary, but you do need to take note of what happened last night. When I said they were ready, I was specifically referring to this. They were ready for a massive data surveillance project that could have revealed not just each person who was out there, but each person you were talking to. So let's say you do the right thing and you show up with your burner phone, flip phone, totally, you're not doing anything. There's nothing on it to encrypt. And the number, even if they were to get it, doesn't trace back to you, and someone else bought it and you bought it cash from them. So there's absolutely nothing to connect you to this phone. Great. Can you say that the same for every single person you're going to talk to on that phone? Because if law enforcement gets the IMEI numbers of anyone you're talking to, then they'll be like, well, who's this person? We don't know who they are. What they have the capability of doing, your phone still has an IMEI number, and they can follow it, and they will. That's how they've caught people since 2008. 2008. This is not new technology, guys, and it hasn't changed much. It hasn't had to. So I tell you all that to tell you this. It's impossible to practice perfect OPSEC, but it's not hard to do a little bit better than what we've all been doing. So I'm begging you before the city council meeting starts. If you can afford one, please go get a burner phone, or have someone buy one for you in cash, keeping their face covered. Cash is important because they can trace the purchase of that burner phone through receipts, or if you pay in cash, they can determine where it was purchased and look for the video surveillance at the point of purchase. If they really want to find you, they're going to find you. And if you're the only person around you practicing this level OPSEC, they're going to come looking, which doesn't mean don't practice OPSEC. It means please beg all your friends to practice really good OPSEC just like you and get burner phones, so that not only will they stay safe, it's the digital equivalent of black bloc. Please go practice digital equivalent of black bloc. If they make them work really hard to get you, while we work really hard to ensure that democracy occurs at some point in the United States, because it sure as hell isn't happening right now. That this is true. You can block all, if you wrap it in a sealed metallic pouch. So this is something I haven't really shown yet, because this is the level where people start to like tune out and don't listen to me anymore. But yes, you can wrap it in a metallic pouch, usually the ones that are supposed to be good for keeping your phone cool on a hot day. Like if you're on a boat or something, you can get up, like we got one when we were staying at Lake the Ozarks. Something like that absolutely will block signals. Another thing you can do is wrap it in tinfoil, put it in a plastic bag, and then wrap it in like a really heavy sweater or a wool blanket. Better bonus points if the wool is damp. And then put that in the trunk of your car while you go protest with your burner phone, and then come back. Because, and this is the final note, if you have both phones on next to each other, then those phones can theoretically talk to each other. And even if all your stuff is encrypted, what they can do is force the phone while you're out to download a piece of software that will lower its inhibitions, and then have it talk to your phone via Bluetooth if they're both on at the same time within range of each other. And then they know, basically, that's how they would locate you, because they're like, okay, these two phones are in the same car right now. We've got eyes on the car itself as it's moving. There's only one person in it. These two phones must belong to the same person, and they have been at this event, this event, this event, this event, this event. We've been watching them for 3 months. So if you feel like you've been targeted by the police, if you feel like a friend of yours has been targeted by the police, friends don't let friends go to town, go to actions with their own cell phone. Hallelujah. Have a good one. I'm ready to go curse at city council. I don't know about y'all.